Hello and welcome to day 1 of 21 on the Mindfulness course. I'm Vix and I'm going to be leading you through the 21 sessions this January. So happy New Year and welcome to the course. What I'd like to do today in the first of the 21 days is talk a little bit about what mindfulness is, some tips on how to practice, and I want to go through our intentions together. So what you'll need is a comfy seat, sit up in bed if you can, have a pen and paper or your notebook nearby, and we'll get started. Okay, so what is mindfulness? If you've heard of Eckhart Tolle, he's a really amazing German speaker and talks a lot about the here and now, the present moment. The Power of Now is his book. He said that the word mindfulness is a bad word for what it represents because it almost insinuates that the mind is full. But actually what we are attempting to do with our mindfulness practice is actually take all of our distractions where our mind wanders away. As I said in the intro video, up to 47% of your time your mind is wandering. We want to kind of clear that out a little bit and come and focus on what's happening in this moment, the only moment that really exists. So mindfulness is the practice of being more present. It should be viewed as a life skill, which can deepen our sense of well-being. So that would be one of the benefits of practicing mindfulness. We can bring more a sense of well-being to our lives, which is really nice. Research has also shown that if we incorporate mindfulness into our daily activities, we can improve the quality of our life. So I think that the scientists are now quite interested in what mindfulness really does. You may have heard of mindfulness a lot in the context of yoga. You may have been to yoga classes, meditation classes where they talk about mindfulness. It is almost like an overarching concept over all of those practices. One really important element to mindfulness practice, and this is something that I'll talk about quite a lot in this course, is what we want to aim to do is not only bring ourselves out of that mind wandering state back into the moment, to be fully here, but we want to do that with intent. So we really want to bring kindness and compassion to the moment, to ourselves, in other words. So the whole point of practicing coming back to the moment is we want to get to know ourselves. We want to unwrap all the layers, and we want to be able to really be who we are as we are, with love, with acceptance, with compassion. So that is the job we have ahead of us. Quite often I think most people would agree that we are our own worst critic, and sometimes when you find yourself either without your phone or you're somewhere alone, I think sometimes it can be a moment where you kind of start to feel a little bit overwhelmed, or perhaps thoughts come in. So this practice will be a way to make the time you spend with yourself, with the present moment, a really healing and nurturing, beautiful time. Now, I say beautiful and nurturing, these are all very positive words. It's very important for me to mention that the present moment is not always a nice moment. So what we want to cultivate in this course is the ability to observe the moment, observe the present, without judgment, with acceptance, even when the present moment isn't that nice. If you've practiced meditation before, or you've been through courses like that, they talk a lot about we're strengthening our observational skills of our experience in life and strengthening our ability to not react. So, for example, you're in the car and somebody pulls out in front of you, and of course this is a scary moment which has a lot of fear kind of behind it. But in that moment where you'd normally rage with your arms in the air, a good thing to practice there is to observe your anger or your fear and not react. So I just wanted to bust out a myth that mindfulness and meditation and yoga is not the art of clearing your mind, because your mind is very complex and very beautiful. It is the art of strengthening our ability to not react in the moment. So mindfulness practices are not only meditation and yoga and that kind of thing, or breath work. Mindfulness practices can include things like mindful washing up. So that's quite a good one to try after this video if you want to try washing up mindfully, really noticing every bubble on the plate, every bit of cleanliness as you wipe. That is actually a mindfulness practice. So you can walk in the woods, you can go for a walk mindfully. It all comes down to your intention that you're going to be mindful. So before you practice each day on this course, it's a really nice thing to get ready for the video and say, I'm going to practice mindfully for 10 minutes. So the 10 minutes might be a video like this with some listening to do, or it might be quite practical. So whatever comes up, you're going to practice it hopefully mindfully. So make that intention before you start the video. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about our autopilot. So I talked a bit before about the mind wandering for 47% of our lives. So we're missing almost half. And what happens in its place? What happens in those moments? And everybody probably, if you drive, the best example is driving to work, and I don't remember driving to work. So, you know, the clutch, the gas pedal, the steering wheel changing gear, giving way, kids crossing, everything happened, but we didn't do it consciously. So our autopilot is a very awesome tool to have, because it lets you kind of do your thing. However, if I ask you, would you prefer to be more mindful in those moments? Would you prefer to be experiencing those moments more? I hope the answer would be yes. So with present moment practice or mindfulness practice, we can break out of some of these autopilot habits and bring ourselves back and be here and now. And some of the benefits, which I mentioned in the intro, would be just to balance out your physiology, so your sleep patterns, your hormonal balance, your stress, your mental health. It really just puts our whole being in a better standing for homeostasis, or the balance of all the systems together. So I want to finish on tips for practice. So the practices in the 21 days will include things like a guided meditation or observation or breath work or movement. So here's some tips on how best to practice during the course. So whatever your experience, bring awareness to it. Now that's a brave ask, because if something terrible comes up, we're going to start practicing staying with it. Now, I did mention before that if you feel that you're not in a great place to do that at the moment, then pause the video and come back when you feel, or speak to your health professional first and check that that's okay. So whatever your experience, bring awareness to it. We'll go through lots of exercises of how we can really do that and how we can structure it to make it a really good process. So maintain an attitude of openness and curiosity throughout the course. And meet each experience with acceptance. It might be a nice thing to actually write in your diary, today I accept. And as things come up, you can start saying to yourself, I accept. Another thing is to remind yourself that all experiences will pass, even the bad ones. The next one is to maintain a discipline of regular practice, which we're going to do with our course, which is great. And releasing expectations of what this should be. So if we can keep our minds open and release any expectations of what you might get or achieve or be or what it should be, this will open up a space for more to come in. And the last one is to remember your intention and why you're persevering with the course. So that reminds me to move on to our intention setting for the last couple minutes. So I sent this through to you by email, so you can either print this or we can write the questions from your screen into your notebook that you're using throughout the course. So this is a very personal thing and a very personal course. For every single person practicing, it'll be for different reasons. So I think this is the best time for you to sit down and answer these questions. Take as long as you need. Keep this piece of paper or keep the notebook in your mindful place and spend a few minutes now or whenever you get time today to really take time to fill this out, to find out, what do I hope for myself, and what is my intention or purpose for engaging in the course? Why did I choose the course? And when you've finished, put that into or near the diary if it's a separate piece, and we'll come back tomorrow for day 2, which will be practical. Thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow.